Hey, everybody, welcome back to A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to join me today. Today, I have a really fun and exciting episode and also an announcement for you. So, thanks again for being here today. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about strength training, and I'm also going to tell you about something new that I just created for you. And this is a quiz. What type of quiz? I'll tell you in a second, but I want to come back to strength training because this quiz has something to do with strength training. So if you're a person who has TMS, chronic symptoms, sensations in the body, and or you are a highly sensitive person, you may not be doing any strength training right now for various reasons because your body's hurting, you think that there's something wrong with you, or you are really insecure, you don't know how to start, or you just have never done this before. And here's also a big thing. You might be also thinking, well, why do I even need strength training? And is it really that important? And I just really don't know how to start. Should I start? Why? All that stuff. And I'm here to tell you that yes, you need to get started with strength training, even if you have TMS. You need to do this. And the quiz that I created for you actually helps you to figure out and pinpoint exactly what is your biggest fear that is holding you back from getting started. Now, why is strength training so important? You might be thinking, well, can't I just, take a couple walks here and there and stretch a little bit? Isn't that enough? Or I could go to a Zumba class or do a little bit of yoga. And cool, absolutely, you can do all of these things, and they're very healthy and good things for the body and the mind. But none of these workouts actually has the same effect as strength training because strength training makes your body stronger, obviously. But of course, it has so many other benefits. And I want to tell you a little bit more about them. And then we get to the quiz part. So, strength training is the only type of training that actually puts muscle on you. And when you put muscle on yourself, you're getting obviously stronger. So, we're going to gain more independence, more strength in our body. When we get older, we'll be more independent. We increase our bone density, which is so important for women, especially when we get to midlife and we start losing bone density. And if we don't do any strength training, we are going to lose bone density. So this is something you really have to take into account. The other thing is blood sugar balance. A lot of people don't know that, but if you have more muscle on the body that you get from strength training, then your blood sugar regulation will be much, much better. And what does it mean? It's not just, okay, blood sugar is better regulated, so what? Well, it has many benefits. The first one is if you feel like your energy is often fluctuating, going up and down, you're gonna get these weird like crashes where your energy just drops really low. Well, one of the things could be that your blood sugar is all over the place. But if you have muscle in the body, it really helps you to regulate that. And the other thing that is super important is that if you have more muscle on the body, which you get from strength training, you are protecting yourself against diabetes. It really is true. And again, some people don't know. A lot of people think that, oh, muscle is just something that, like, looks good or whatever, or I've heard that it helps with weight loss. Okay, yes, these things are cool too. But truly, this is a health thing. And that's why I really need you to get started with this. And I'm going to show you how to do this too. Some other benefits, if you do strength training, you're going to have better hormonal balance. Of course, that is if you don't overdo it, because you can overdo anything. I'm going to share you in the next episode my own experience. But if you are doing the right amount of strength training, it is helpful for your hormones. Your hormones are going to be better balanced. Your sleep is going to improve. And of course, you will also have easier time maintaining your body composition. If you want to put muscle on, if you want to lose a little bit of body fat, all this becomes a lot easier if you have muscle on you. And this is something that I've seen in a lot of women, after worked in this nutrition space for close to 5 years now, is that they are always so afraid to eat. And this may or may not apply to you, but many women are so afraid to eat more because they think they're going to gain weight immediately. But let me tell you, if you have more muscle in the body, you can eat a lot more and not gain weight, and you're still going to look good. So there's so many benefits, but I think above all, what's the most important thing is this: your confidence will go through the roof when you strength train. And you will also make your TMS recovery easier when you strength train. And why is that? Because you're doing something that your brain is thinking, oh, is that good for me? Or, oh, should we avoid this? Because your body is hurting. And when you start actually ignoring this BS and you start moving your body and you start strength training, then you are showing your brain that you are not afraid. You are strong, you are capable, you can do this. And over time, your brain will learn, oh, I guess this thing is safe then. And this is how I have seen a lot of times people that actually made their TMS recovery faster. And this is one of the tools that you can use to make your TMS recovery faster. And don't think that I'm talking about something extreme here, like, oh, you have to go to the gym and start like Olympic lifting, which is like throwing barbells above your head. No, not at all. This is not at all what I'm talking about. I'm talking about starting with basic things if you have no experience at all. Maybe you want to start with body weight training or bands, or if you are ready for some dumbbells, this is absolutely amazing too. But you don't have to do anything extreme. So if you thought this way, if you're like, oh my God, she wants me to do crazy stuff and I'm not ready at all. No, don't worry. This is not what's required at all. So you can start very simple and basic things and get a lot stronger. And little by little, you keep convincing your brain that hey, I am fine here because I am doing this. Obviously, I am fine. And I'm going to share a little bit later in today's episode, give you an example of from somebody who really said that starting strength training truly made her TMS recovery faster. This was the missing piece that she needed. So I'm going to give you an example of that. Now, before I tell you a little bit more about the quiz, I also want to tell you that my beginner level strength training program, Train to Build Starter, is on sale right now until September 22nd. If you use the code September, so all caps September, use that code if you want to get $10 off this 8-week total beginner level course. I know you're going to enjoy it because it is, like I said, gentle, it's doable, it's not overwhelming, and it will get you stronger. So this is meant for people who are total beginners. And when I designed it, I had in mind a person who has or had TMS recently and had a longer break between now and before the last worked out. So this is designed exactly this way. So I know it's safe, it's doable, and you can absolutely do it. So again, the code is September, and if you want to get that $10 off, which makes the course only $67 for 8 weeks, then sign up before September 22nd. And the link for this course, for this program, is in the show notes. Okay, now let's talk about the quiz that I created for you. And first of all, I want to tell you why. Why do you need this type of quiz? Well, working with people with TMS has shown me clearly that we are very terrified, like when it comes to anything new, and especially when it comes to moving our bodies, because our bodies are hurting, right? And people have fears, and they have different types of fears. And what I did with this quiz, I categorized them into 4 different groups. And this is based on what I have seen most often. So when you take this quiz, you're going to get a result. Okay, this is your biggest fear. And this matters not just so that you can say, okay, this is my biggest fear, but because I'm also going to give you some tips and tools to overcome this. What can you do? So when you take this quiz, you're going to get a mini training that tells you what you can do to start improving, how you can get started with strength training. So this video training is about 10 minutes long, nothing too crazy. You can speed it up if you want to, and learn what you can do to get started with strength training. So this is the reason why I created it. Like I see these patterns all the time, and I wanted to make it really clear and give each type of these different fears, there are 4 fears that I see most commonly, a solution, what you can do. So now when you identify your biggest fear, you may also notice that you have other fears. So when you take this quiz, you see, okay, my biggest fear is that I'm going to make my TMS worse. That's my main one, but there's also other ones. So you can see like percentages, like which one is your biggest and which ones are your like smaller fears. So I think that's fun to see, because I don't think that anybody who's like just has like one super clear cut fear. So you can learn a little bit more about it. And in the next 4 episodes, including this one today, I'm going to break down all these 4 types for you. So there are 4 types of fears, like I said, that I see most commonly. And in today's episode, we're going to do part 1. And the first fear that I see very often is the fear of making my TMS worse, right? So this is the reason why I'm not starting strength training. I think my body's hurting. I think still my body is somehow broken. And if I start working out, I'm going to make it worse. So this is the first thing that we're going to dive into today. And the next three episodes after this, we're going to break down the other types of fears too, so you can see which one resonates with you the most. But I still want you to go ahead and it's nothing crazy. It's not too long. It's only 7 questions, but it makes you think a little bit and put yourself into different scenarios in this quiz, so you can see which fear is most common for you. Okay, so like I said today, let's break down the first fear, which is this. If I start working out, I'm going to make my TMS symptoms worse. So if this is you, you are afraid that your chronic sensations, even though you may know very well that they're coming from your brain and nervous system, you still think that they're going to get worse. So what are you going to do, right? So what are some of the habits and behaviors that you have? Well, first thing you do is you check your sensations frequently. You're like, is it here? Is it here when I move this way? When I move the other way? When I do a little squat? Did it hurt? Or what about now, right? And this is called hypervigilance. And this is known to keep chronic sensations around, but you're doing it because you're so afraid, oh my God, my TMS is going to get worse. Now, let's say that you then decided, okay, I know that there's nothing wrong with me. I've heard this many times. I've been checked out so many times. Okay, let me get started and do a little bit of physical exercise. And when you now start doing exercise and you get like a little bit of a sensation, even if it goes up a tiny bit, or there's a tiny little different thing popping up somewhere else in your body, your mind immediately goes into worry mode and starts wondering, what could this be? And you may even go start Googling. And even though you've done this already a million times, it never gave you any solutions. It only gave you more things to worry about. You're still doing it. It's like you're stuck in this trap, right? What if there's something that I should still, pay attention to, or is there a new thing to worry about? So this is how you think. And if you do find a little bit of pain after doing like a totally normal amount of exercise or movement, your tendency is to go and start panicking and telling yourself that what you did was too much. It was just too much. And this is so common. Sometimes I hear from people, they went on a, let's say, 15-minute walk, and then they start hurting somewhere and they're like, this was too much. But think about it, was it really like, or is it something that every normal, healthy person, which you are, by the way, should be able to handle? And if it is something totally normal, then there's really no reason to think I did too much. Like 15-minute walk is not too much for most people. And as like I said, you are healthy, you are strong, there's nothing wrong with you. So 15-minute walk or something else that you did a little bit more, it's not too much. So what you need to do in this situation is you really have to come back to the definition of TMS, that there's nothing wrong with you and that you're good to exercise and get started with even strength training, even just a gentle body weight movement. So most healthy people exercise regularly, and you are one of them. So why can't you? So if this resonated with you, I want to give you an example from real life from one of my clients and how she had this exact same fear. So what I'm going to tell you is what were her main sensations when she started strength training. She started despite having these sensations. What was her main fear and how she overcame her fear, and finally, how she's doing now. Okay. So her TMS sensations were the following. So she had chronic sinus issues, pelvic pain, double vision, food intolerances. She was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. She had anxiety, depression, insomnia, something called peripheral neuropathy. That's a hard one to say. Basically means you have like numbness and tingling in your body, and sometimes you use reflexes. And she also had chronic fatigue. So her main fear when she was started to kind of thinking about like, should I try out this strength training thing? What's that about? But her main fear was this. I have so little energy to begin with. So remember, she had chronic fatigue. That was one of her things. Plus, she had all these other things too. So of course she was drained, right? But she was thinking, I have so little energy to begin with. If I start working out, my TMS symptoms may get so bad that now I'll have even less energy to do even the basic things. But she overcame her fear. So here's what she did. She started increasing her activity, including starting strength training. And she constantly reminded herself that there's nothing wrong with her body. So, for example, when her sensations increased, she talked out loud. She said, I don't have time for you. She literally said that. I don't have time for you. I got my workout to do here. And she kept going. And she stayed calm and she was confident in her decision to continue working out. Of course, there were days when she had higher sensations and then she just, took it easier or did less or rested more, but she never stopped. And she has been strength training regular since May 2023. And now that you're listening to this, we are in September 2024. So that's 1 year and what, 3, 4 months now? And she has been so consistent with it. And how she's doing right now, she says that this is the strongest and fittest that I've ever been. And she also says that it's kind of funny that I was afraid that this strength training is going to take my energy away from it because it has been the opposite. I have more energy that I've ever had. So she's now she's always getting like 11,000, 12,000 steps every single day. And she's okay, yeah, maybe she has a day when she has like things going on, but most days 11, 12,000 steps. She works out 3 days a week most weeks, and she says that strength training was the missing piece that she needed to really accelerate her TMS recovery, and she never wants to stop doing it. And cool, because there's no need to. And she has also, by the way, lost 23 pounds, which is a bonus. Weight loss is a bonus. And I have also done an interview with her. If you want to check it out on YouTube, I'm going to link it in the show notes so you can find that interview and check it out. So this is all very important because I think this might be the biggest fear. Like I said, I have categorized into 4 groups, all these fears that I see in people, but making my TMS worse is definitely one of the bigger ones, if not the biggest one. So I think it may have resonated with many of you, and I hope that you found this experience helpful and inspiring and showing you that you can do it too. Because like I said, this woman whose journey I just described you, she had so many symptoms, right? Sinus issues, pelvic pain, double vision, food intolerance, fibromyalgia, and so much more. Chronic fatigue was one of them too. So many others. And she was able to get started with strength training, and she didn't make her TMS worse. It was actually the opposite. She made it better. So I hope that you found this inspiring. So one more time, if you want to take this quiz, and I hope that you do, then go into my show notes. You'll find the link there. You can take this quiz. You can also find this quiz on my Instagram, of course, and take this quiz, see what was your result, what is the main result, and what is the kind of the other smaller ones maybe for you too. And watch that mini training that comes with your results. Watch that, get your first steps, and then get going. And if you want to get started with my Train to Build Starter program, remember the code is September. You can get it in also through the link in the description of this video. And like I said, this is a very beginner-friendly program that I really created for you, knowing that you need to get started with this. You just have to get started because it's going to be so beneficial for you. All right, thank you so much for being here today. In the next 3 episodes, I'm going to break down the other 3 types. So I hope that you check those out as well. And I talk to you again very soon. Take care.